Hi everyone, this is Ben with measureQuick, and I'm here at the 7th Annual HVACR Training Symposium down in Florida. I'm speaking with Brynn Cooksey.
Yep.
You have gone from 0 to 100 with measureQuick, and you are one of our most hardcore power users, not just you, but your company. You have an interesting story that goes along with it, so I just want to chat about that a little bit and learn a little bit about, I guess, the DNA of who you are, and then how that translates into why measureQuick is a good fit.
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in the business. My father and mother owned a heating and cooling company, so I can remember as far back as 2 or 3 participating in some of the family projects. Grew up and kind of took a liking to the industry. I really love it. And one day I decided to venture out on my own. I also teach. I used to teach at a community college back home in Michigan. So I had a lot of experience kind of seeing what worked and what didn't. So when I started my business, we started doing baselining. So we would take handwritten forms and collect readings, superheat, subcooling, all that kind of stuff. Once we got a hold of measureQuick, it was like all the stuff we wanted to do, but a lot faster and easier. So once we learned with the benefits of it, we just deployed it company-wide in our business.
But I want to go a little bit more to that origin story, though, because the process of just writing down a whole bunch of stuff manually, meticulously every single time, like unless there's a reason for it, it's kind of crazy. And so was that you being crazy, or was that actually, what was the purpose behind it? Why did you get to that point?
Sure. So the reason why I did it, it was a really effective lab that I used to give to students. And it was a way when I first started my business, in order to get techs, I had to get them younger, maybe less experienced. So as they were trained and they were safely trained, when they would write the readings that call for problems, I had the data to back up what their suspicions were with the equipment problems. So the numbers verified that. And then with those verification numbers, over time, they were able to see trends that they can pick up, and they got better. So I actually saw technicians get up to speed quicker by doing that. Fast forward to measureQuick, now that you have the capability to deploy the probes, you're getting that same analysis and repetition, but just with a nice, robust software platform that you guys got.
And that's a great kind of segue into bringing in someone else from the team here who has also become a measureQuick champion. What Brynn and Melissa do is not just, I guess they have 2 businesses. One is the training, which is HVACU, and the other one is
Air Doctors Heating and Cooling, so our contracting company. We're in the Metro Detroit area in Michigan.
Yourself being introduced to measureQuick, or even before measureQuick, the experience of having somebody telling you that, hey, our team is going to be just like writing down all these calculations and going through this. Like, how is it explained to you as like the value of, I guess, becoming a meticulous record keeper of all of these measurements that nobody else in the industry was doing?
So it was a little challenging at first, because when he first introduced it to me, I'm like, we have to do what? These numbers mean who? Why are they taking all of these down? What value is this going to be for me keeping all of this? And he was just like, trust me, there's a value to it, and I'll explain to you why. And when that value came is when we had a customer complaint, but those numbers allowed me to explain to the customer why their system needed the service that it did. So it definitely helped us articulate more in the office and bridge that gap that sometimes happens between techs in the office to say, hey, this is what we can do to make things easier for everybody.
And so how common was that you had a scenario where basically there was a callback, or there was some sort of a conflict with, like, the system isn't behaving as you had expected, or the customer has a complaint, and then using that data that you were collecting manually, how often did that save your ass?
It saved us quite a few times. It saved us from a lot of Google reviews, it saved us a lot of headache, and then it also just kept the value that we implement when we go out to service someone, that, hey, this is what we're trying to tell you about your system, that this is how it's going to work and how it needs to work, and these are the numbers, and we all know numbers don't really lie, but it just absolutely helped us in the long run.
Customers valued it also because when we would recommend something like a refrigerant charge, we would show the customer what the typical ranges needed to be and where they were. So it gave us some social proof that they needed to get their system repaired.
Okay. And then when was it that you guys ran into measureQuick, and what was the kind of that transition like?
So in 2020, we hired a technician. He was a technician I trained at the community college, and he we were onboarding him and we were telling him about the forms that we keep and all that kind of stuff. And he said, "Hey, Brynn, have you ever heard of measureQuick?" And I had heard of it, but I didn't really understand at the time what it was. And he had his own set of probes that he bought with him, and he started using it on the jobs. And instead of sending us the written reports that we had, he would send me the measureQuick reports. And I'm looking at this and like, man, this is awesome. Like,
what was that first experience when you saw the measureQuick reports? Like the synapses that connected in your brain, like what was going on in your mind?
it was like I was born again.
You don't have to butter up the camera here.
I was born again. I saw the light, and immediately we went out and bought probe kits for all of our techs.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we got on the platform, and this was back when you guys were doing the qubits and all that kind of stuff. So we're getting reports, and customers were loving it. And then I really was thrilled when you guys went to the subscription model. And now,
because you guys were probably doing such a volume with the reports.
Now with the subscription model, we implemented it now. So on service calls, we do test in, test out. And then on install jobs, we'll do a test out to show we hit our mark. So we absolutely love the product, and it's been helpful to us.
Yeah, and I also heard that your numbers are pretty good. Because like even when you're doing the meticulous sort of record keeping, let's say callbacks, you were at a certain level, and now after measureQuick, you went to a different number.
So
we went to 0.5%.
0.5%.
0.5%. What were you at before?
We were probably a little bit above. What would you say? Probably about
Was it
2 to
4?
4%.
Which is
3%. Just 3 to 4%, which was still good. But again, us trying to, our motto is we're surgeons of comfort, and we like to give a great report to everybody. So this allowed us to just cut it out in half. It was just something that we really liked and appreciated.
So now we expect our service techs to make one mistake every 200 calls.
So, and the secret sauce for success was really that you had the culture was set before you even touched measureQuick. And then what was it, because you told me before about how to be able to get to that from the 2 to 4% down to 0.5%, there's a couple of techniques that you use that I think a lot of companies that use measureQuick, they have gotten down to the 2 to 4%. But 0.5% is still not common. So how did you do that?
We first thing, we take several tests. So measureQuick is a requirement on every single call. To measureQuick, we have to use tools like the TrueFlow every single call. So we're getting the airflow, we're getting a refrigerant charge, a general equipment inspection. And when you go to that level of detail, you really can't miss problems. Like you're getting all the bad news up front. And what happened, the guys are making more recommendations. And as a result, if the customer declined it, well, it's really not a callback. It's the customer didn't want to go forward with it. So with all the data capturing that we did, like I said, every 200 calls, we're expecting about one mistake.
That's amazing. And so when you bring on a new technician or a new CSR, anybody new to the company, what's your process to be able to transition them not just onto measureQuick, but into your culture?
Yeah, very good question. So we do our HVAC trains air doctors. So we have our own in-house training. When we get a new tech, once we get them through the safety part, like the OSHA classes and refrigerant handling, we know they'll be safe. We have them ride with a technician for about 6 weeks and just getting repetitions on deploying the probes to make sure they don't drill in coils and all that kind of stuff. And just deploying the probes. And once they get at deploying the probes and operating the equipment, then we'll cut them loose on maintenance calls. Once they do maintenance calls and they're getting reports done and they can identify and make repairs, and then we'll start to get them into service. So that's kind of our process.
Yeah, but a graduating kind of a step program to be able to do that. Have you tried other ways of training, like other methods, other routes of training, or was there a reason why you chose that path?
Just because of teaching, I saw larger companies who maybe rush the techs to get up to speed. I saw smaller companies that maybe had too slow of an on-ramp process. So I got a lot of experience with training a lot of students, so I just kind of saw this seemed to be the most appropriate pace.
Now, for a lot of companies, the return on investment from, let's say, the 10, 12% down to 4%, that's pretty straightforward. But I'm very curious if you guys, did you have an idea as to what that additional 1.5 to 3.5% actually is worth for your company on a monthly or yearly basis?
Every callback that we save, we did the math. So one callback is like $1,000. In revenue. So if you have a tech who's averaging, let's say 100 calls a month, and he has 10%, 10 callbacks, that's $10,000 in revenue that you're losing because you're lost the opportunity for them to service other customers.
And what's your volume?
We have about 20 trucks. in the summertime, it's easy for us to run 500-600 calls a month. So it's, it's pretty high. And if you don't have a good process in place to reduce callbacks, you can lose money and not know it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and then you have all those kind of like harder to track ones, which is like when you do get that bad Google review, the financial impact is pretty substantial.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, almost unlimited, because you don't know how much that review is going to continue to affect you in the future. It could be an infinite amount of money because customers won't choose you. Yep.
Yeah, it might completely cap that growth that you could have.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.